Welcome along to the Cheltenham Festival Handicap Previews. I'm here in the studio with Paul Jones, our expert statsman from attheraces.com and author of the Weatherby's Cheltenham Festival Betting Guide. We're focusing on Friday now and the Vincent O'Brien County Hurdle. Traditionally, to quote Paul Jones in his website Stats Preview, it had been considered a pin job, a minefield, a cavalry charge. But Paul, you believe there are actually some quite telling stats and some trends that we can identify in this race.
Yeah, I mean, it's been traditionally a good race for fancied horses. Only you occasionally get a little bit of a surprise winner, but usually the winner comes from the first, well, up to 16 to 1 in the betting, and there's a couple of good ways of narrowing it down. 10 of the last 11 winners were first or second season hurdlers, and the last 9 winners were rated in the 130s, so that's 2 strong stats. It's been a great race for the Irish. They hadn't won it for years and years, 1981, and then they went on a long drought, but they've won 6 of the last 8. Might have been 7 of the last 8 if it wasn't for Lac Fontana last year, as they filled the places again last season.
Well, we saw Quick Jack and Calypto at the top of the market holding sway. And talking of the Irish runners, let's start with this excellent dual-purpose horse for Tony Martin. We haven't seen him since finishing 3rd in the Cesarewitch, but he is such an interesting horse, and it ticks plenty of boxes on the stats, not least a couple of years ago running in the Bull Sports, which is always a significant race for this.
Yes, it is a significant race, and this is last year's running, as you say, when he finished 3rd to Gil Gamboa. Ted Veal actually finished 3rd in this race the same season as he won the county hurdle for the same stable. Yeah, it's been very light the race. They're just picking their targets with him. Very easy winner in a first-time hood in the Galway hurdle. 3rd as favourite in the Cesarewitch. They're just waiting for the right moment to run him off the right mark, and I think this is the race they've decided to go for. So he's going to be a big player, but Tony Martin's got others for the race. Cervello being another one, different owner of course. He's very interesting indeed. He won the Grand Annual last season, and he's off a £16 lower mark over hurdles than he is over fences, so he's handicapped to go well. And he finished 4th in the Bull Sports hurdle, in which his stablemate Ted Veal was 3rd. I'm not sure if Ted Veal will go here. They might be looking at a chase race with him, but this was a good run from Cervello, and I'm pretty sure he's been trained with the spring in mind.
Yeah, those two are fascinating contenders, aren't they? 125 for Quick Jack. This horse is 133. So presumably from the ratings perspective, he's falling more into the bracket Cervello. Yes,
he would, and you know he's certain to get a run off that kind of mark. Quick Jack, not so much.
So that's the 2 Irish runners, and we've also got Willie Mullins' Siempre Medici while we're on the subject of the Irish horses. So let's take a look at this one now. Again, another horse who's very unexposed, this horse, albeit at the top end already with 140.
United novices in this race. Willie Mullins has got a good record in this race. He's won it twice recently. He had the 2nd and 4th last year, and he was a little bit outclassed last time out when he ran in the Deloitte and finished 7th. Previous to that, he'd finished 2nd to Jolly Allen at Kempton. That could be very good form. Had a lot of flat class too. Finished 4th in the Group 1 Criterium de Saint-Cloud as a 2-year-old, and he looks just the type for the race if this is the route they're going to take with him. And I do know that the BHA handicapper who set the weights for this race is he sort of marked him down as the right favourite when the bookmakers priced this up. He's not a favourite now, but he thought he was the right favourite at the time.
OK, well, that's some of the key Irish contenders. I also like Modem if they run him here for Jessica Harrington as well. But we'll see if any of the British contenders can get involved, because the Betfair Hurdle, Paul, is one race that is often a key pointer for this, and Calypto one to consider as well for Paul Nicholls.
Yeah, the Betfair Hurdle has been the best British guide to this race, and Calypto finished 4th in this race, the first time he'd run since he was 2nd at the October meeting at Cheltenham behind Tiger Roll, since when I think he'd had a wind operation, and he ran well. He ran well to finish 4th. So yeah, he's probably the main representative from that race. If Arzau's probably going to run as well, he finished 5th. He caught the eye that day. I think Activial, who finished in the places. He's more likely to go for the Coral Cup. Cheltenham was second. It looks like he'll go here. He was a leading fancy for this race. I think it was last year rather than the year before. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but he ran a shocker. But he obviously has got the Cheltenham profile, having won the Weatherby's Champion Bumper. So yes, the Betfair Hurdle has been the best British guide to this race. Just seeing there the Game Changer at 20-1. He's another potential runner for Jigginstown, along with Cervello, having his first run for Gordon Elliott, having moved from the retired Charlie Swan, and a lot of people quite like that angle.
Yeah, 20-1, the Game Changer. And Paul Nicholls and Willie Mullins, both of them with a really strong record in this handicap.
Yes, extremely strong. You know, I mean, I've written in the book before, respect Paul Nicholls and Willie Mullins, which I got a load of abuse saying, well, thanks very much for that. They've only won 25 million Chilenas championships between them. But yes, both of them have got a great record in the race, and Paul Nicholls, particularly with his novices, he's won it 3 times, and he might have won it 5 times if things have just gone a little bit differently with a couple of those novices in the race.
And we've spoken about Au Petit Soin, who is also in the Coral Cup, but also in this one.
Yep. We'll talk about him again. We've majored on him in the Coral Cup. We think that's probably where he's going to run, but it'd be interesting to see some VT footage of him here. Yeah, he's now in the colours of John Hales, Azertiup, One Man, etc., etc. And he's been working with Grade 1 horses at home and working well with them, and he's got a mark of 139. I think it's probably more likely he will go for the Coral Cup, but I think they've got very high hopes for him at Cheltenham and beyond.
He's obviously held in very high regard, isn't he? I mean, I guess the question mark, I mean, he's very difficult to weigh up on all levels, but all of his form, although it doesn't look too testing there, has come on a softer surface as well. Yeah,
and he hasn't run since September the 11th, and that's the biggest sticking point with me. That's too big an absence for me to look at a horse closely, I think.
OK, again, very early days for this Friday handicap, but Quick Jack and Calypto heading the market at 12-1. As far as the stats go, Paul, which are the ones to focus on for you?
I like, I like Cervello off a £16 lower mark than his chase rating, and we know he's got Cheltenham big handicap form in the book, having won a good Grand Annual last season. So I think he'll run well. Quick Jack might be the Tony Martin #1, but I prefer Cervello.
OK, so potentially a 1-2 even for Tony Martin, but Paul Jones is going for Cervello in our preview of the Vincent O'Brien County Hurdle.